Master the art of learning to shut the fuck up. I have two rules in life. Do not tell people until you've crossed the finish line. No matter how bad you are doing, you tell people you are okay. I've always been a very superstitious person, and I noticed from around 15, 16 years old this weird characteristic that every single time I told someone something ahead of it happening, it would not work out. Whether that was a venture, whether it was a job interview, and it happened several times with job interviews and various other things. It could have been a new opportunity in life. Whatever it was, 90% plus of the time when I told people, it didn't work out. And I'm a big believer in evil eyes and evil ears. And I think this is one of the universal laws that often comes into play that many people do not realize is actually completely sabotaging them because they just cannot shut the fuck up. It's weird because something would just always go wrong. Whenever I told someone something, I couldn't work it out. Like, why is it every time this person has been told something, or why is it every time I've opened my mouth, something goes wrong, often at the last minute? And I couldn't really work it out for a long time until I realized I was simply talking too much. I was doing a lot, but I was talking just as much. And unfortunately, in the world we live in, I think that's where most people go horrendously wrong because they're not really aware as much as they should be of evil eyes and evil ears. Now, the crazy part about this is I was almost conscious enough to always know to never tell negative people or people that were not necessarily satisfied or happy in their lives about anything positive that I was doing. But the crazy part was most of the time I was telling close ones, whether that was close members of family or people that loved me dearly. And that's when I started to realize that's where the problem actually lies. Because those that care about you the most and love you deeply will always have an element of fear regarding your well being and safety, and your future for that matter. So, when you think about it, even love is theoretically, in many cases, when it comes to close family and friends, especially parents, grandparents, aunties, whoever you spend most of your time with as a family, they care about you deeply. But that comes with a series of negatively charged emotions such as fear, doubt, and worry, because they will always want what's best for you, but they may not necessarily know what's best for you. And when what you're about to do in life, whether it is a new business venture, whether you're about to pursue a different career role, whether you're about to drop out of university, or whether you're about to pursue a whole different degree in education through the education system that, let's say, your parents don't want you to pursue, by breaking that fear and visualization of what they believe is best for you, you're shattering their perception of what you should logically be doing, which is going to create a huge series of underlying elements such as fear, doubt, and worry, which are negative emotions. And when you make a decision to do something or work on something or take a risk in your life, it wouldn't happen without a series of internal positively charged emotions to consider, to also to motivate you and for you to justify taking that risk. And more often than not, in this game of life, everything is a fucking risk. But telling people who are afraid to take risks and born and molded into complacency, it will never work out because they will never be able to comprehend what you are doing. So, whatever it is you are doing, they will negatively charge whatever the fuck it is you're thinking to do. And if it doesn't happen from an energetic basis, it will influence you by their words and actions. And there's no benefit to telling anyone anything, in theory. There is no benefit whatsoever. It causes more harm than good. In fact, there is no good. And if you look at it this way, the main reason we tell people stuff, that we've done something or we're planning something, I've noticed it always goes horrendously wrong. And if you think about it, why do we tell people? That's because internally we have positively charged these ideas and emotions to convince ourselves. And often, when you have these ideas and you're willing to take a risk in life or pursue a different path, you've positively charged it enough that you can almost visualize. You know, when you have those moments where you visualize yourself at this new job role, you visualize yourself passing that interview with flying colors, or you've created this genius idea which you know has a very high likelihood of succeeding. The best thing to do is shut the fuck up, keep that held internally, and use that energy to charge you through the process. Let your results do the talking. Do not speak throughout the process. Now, this is also applicable to when you are not doing well in life and you are actually going through a bad phase in life yourself. And I can relate to this because when I went through depression for a 2 year period, I did not actually tell anyone. And this for me was a key element and aspect to the recovery, which will also be covered in another video later in the future. But for me, by not telling anyone, I was able to essentially escape and break free from depression significantly quicker than if I had started to spread the word. And I find this very important because people will often check up on you. And there's two types of people that check up on you in life: those that want to ensure you are doing bad or worse off than them. Unfortunately, the reality of life is a lot of people want you to fail, especially those that are failing themselves. The second element of this is people that check up on you to make sure you're okay. Again, think about it from this basis. Any negative emotion that comes from a loving source is essentially being charged by love, which is a counterpart of negative energy, and essentially double the strength of negativity when it's coming from a deeply rooted internal source from those that care about you. So when people check up on you that love you and care for you, even if you're doing bad, in my opinion, I find it's always best to just say you're okay. It doesn't matter if you are doing bad. It doesn't matter if your business is doing bad. Your grades are bad at school. You tell people you're doing okay, because nothing good again comes from telling people you're doing bad, or you're not doing as good as you should be, or you're feeling bad, because that is only going to emit more negative energy. And if you tell this stuff to people that care about you, they are going to worry about you too, which is only going to amplify the fear, doubt, worry, and overall negative energy. So you do not want to take something already negative and amplify that. You want to fix that problem internally. Furthermore, you do not want to take something positive, which is potentially a prospective new job, career role, and everything else I've mentioned, and emit that out into a world where, quite frankly, there's more negativity than positivity out there in the outdoors. So keep that shit inside until it is done and dusted. To simply put, if you spread your problems, negative energy will amplify it further. If you spread your positivity, the negative energy outside will quickly counteract that energy and diminish anything you're working towards. For me, it's a superstition, but I've seen it enough times to know it's a reality. And because it's happened in my life, it's a set of rules that I now follow, where I feel it's significantly easier to just not say anything. Because even if it is, in your opinion, some form of mysterious la la magic, the truth is, you don't gain anything from telling people anyway. So you're far better off adopting the approach in life of staying silent than telling people everything. Because I guarantee you, if you do this, you will see a smoother journey through life by simply learning to shut the fuck up. These are my rules, and they've worked for me. Maybe on the opposing side, you've discovered the same yourself. For me personally, I don't like to tempt fate. I don't think it's worth the risk. And I actually think the biggest risk in life you can do is tell someone something before it's actually happened. There is really no positives to doing so. And whilst you may believe people have your best interests at heart, the truth is most people don't. That is just a reality of life. Most people do not want to see you doing better than them. And even in that small window of opportunity where someone may care about you and want the best for you, there's more people out there that do not want you to succeed. So you're far better off shutting the fuck up. I personally think one of the hardest states to attain and maintain in life is a constant form of positivity and optimism. Therefore, when you're mentally optimized in that state and things are going incredibly well for you, the best thing I have found is to stay contained within your own bubble. And in bubble, I mean your own bubble of positivity and in many cases, even delusion. because delusion and being brave enough to believe that you are going to achieve what you do not currently have or do is an element of delusion, and that is a secret recipe to success, which of course will be covered in depth in a future video as well. But by containing yourself within a bubble, your own personal bubble of delusion and positivity, you can ensure that that same energy that's driving you to even take that leap of faith and risk in life is going to carry you through the entirety of the process without allowing negative forces to come through. And if you visualize the idea that there is this massive force field around you like a bubble, all of that negative energy is bouncing off the bubble and being essentially bounced back into the universe, back to where it came from. If you can stay in the state, which is the hardest thing to do because there are so many influences out there, and I guess this is quite important. If you think about how much negativity is out there in the world, whether it's from the mainstream media, whether it's from the ones that love you the most, because they will often be negative too and worry about you, whether it's from people that dislike you, whether it's from haters online, whatever it may be, there is a constant influx of negativity that we must defend ourselves from in the outside world. Therefore, by diminishing that as much as possible and not allowing that positivity you're containing inside to be latched into something that can turn it into negativity, you're going to see far better results and also maintain that positivity as long as possible. Now, the truth is, we do not realistically achieve a state where we can be positive 100% of the time. And for me, this is really the goal of life. It's to aim to do our best, not just to get rich and have loads of money and all this stuff that people say about financial freedom, but actually to obtain and attain and maintain positivity for as long as fucking possible. And that is incredibly hard to do. And the more you talk, the more you share, the more you say you're feeling bad, and the more you tell people things are going well or going wrong, that negativity from the outside world is going to amplify that shit, and it's going to blow up any hopes you have of seeing what you want come to a reality. Action speaks louder than words. All day long, every single day. You cannot beat action. Action defeats everything. You can very quickly stop the flow of what you are doing and what you are working on by talking. What you need to be doing is keeping the flow going by doing. Talking provides no benefits. It's the same as people that talk all day long. And have you noticed this? The people that talk often the most, that I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, are often the ones that are actually doing fuck all. The people that always make excuses. Talkers in general are people that do not actually get anything done. Successful people are not talkers. Successful people are doers. And doers are often so productive and doing so much and continuously working towards what they believe in, they don't have time to talk. So the last thing you want to be doing is converting what you're doing into words and give it to the talkers, because they will quickly stir that up in their negativity vortex and fuck up everything in simple terms. You must also remember that a lot of people out there are plagued not just with fear, but with, in my opinion, the worst of emotions and the worst of feelings, which is envy and jealousy. A lot of people out there are incredibly envious and jealous. And when they downplay what you're working towards and the state of flow you're in, it's mostly because they are envious and jealous of your courageousness and your risk-taking ability to pursue a path that they are far too frightened to do themselves, which is why those people will never be where you want to be in life. Now, it's also a very well-known fact that it is lonely at the top. The more you progress through your life, your career, your business grows, your trading account grows, your wealth grows, whatever it may be, your physical body gets fitter. It's crazy, but you generally realize that to obtain anything beyond the status quo and the norm in life requires you to maintain this bubble of positivity. It requires you to not have envy or jealousy. And you quickly realize what is required to obtain these things does not match the frequency or energy of those that do not have the things you want. This is why it gets lonely, because they also cannot comprehend why you are doing the things you're doing to get to where you need to be. So the simple solution to all of this is to shut the fuck up.